Good morning, my name is Anderson Mole, and I'm going to be providing an analysis of two articles regarding the Suzanne Swerk lawsuit. Swerk was terminated from Ball State University in late September over a post she made on Facebook and has now become an issue of free speech on campus for both students and faculty. My first article is from Ball State Daily News, written by Shelby Anderson and Megan Brady. This article is written in order to inform everyone of the lawsuit itself, as well as provide extra details over the concern of freedom of speech. The American Civil Liberties Union is suing President Mearns over the termination of Suzanne Swerk, the Director of Health Promotion and Advocacy at Ball State University. Swerk was terminated because of her private Facebook post regarding podcaster Charlie Kirk shortly after his assassination, saying, quote, "Let me be clear, if you think Charlie Kirk was a wonderful person, we can't be friends," end quote. After the post was spread around, Swerk was fired less than a week later for, quote, "disruption caused to the campus community," end quote. Swerk's termination stirred up all of campus, with many people concerned about freedom of speech. One of the biggest concerns many, especially staff, have is because of the new surveillance system the Indiana Attorney General set up called the Eyes on Education portal, which allows anyone to report, quote, "potentially inappropriate classroom materials," end quote. This has created a climate of fear, and many call it a direct violation of First Amendment rights. While Swerk was fired for disruption, many claim that this new system is creating more damage to the university than the original post did. Overall, people are now afraid to express themselves because of the termination of Suzanne Swerk, and it's now become a question of the violation of freedom of speech. The second article is also from Ball State Daily News, written by Landon Jones. This article is about the University Senate meeting in which President Mearns addressed the Suzanne Swerk case directly. During the University Senate meeting, President Jeffrey Mearns provided a clarification regarding the termination of Suzanne Swerk and the lawsuit that followed. I do want to point out that President Mearns is addressing this in the most calm and collected way possible, given that it is a very touchy subject. Mearns pointed towards the Pickering test, which says the state has an interest as an employer in regulating the speech of its employees that differ significantly from those it possesses in connection with the regulation of speech of the citizenry in general. Basically saying that state employees have an additional layer of regulations that the general public does not. Mearns provided this as clarification, saying that, quote, "just like private employers, the government needs to exercise control over its employees to provide public services. In other words, public employees, by necessity, accept certain limitations on their freedom," end quote. President Mearns also provided the detail that Swerk had shared the post on her own, meaning that she was responsible for its distribution. Regarding the issue of free speech, President Mearns referenced the Hedgepeth v. Britton case from earlier this year to clarify the basis of his decision. And after reading the case for myself, it's clear that Swerk was fired on the basis that she could no longer fulfill her duties because of the disruption she caused. I highly recommend reading the case for yourself. The entire issue is a very serious matter, given that it's a question of our core freedoms, and it's very difficult to take a side in this situation. On one hand, the freedom of speech is a constitutional right, but on the other hand, I do understand that the freedom of speech does not mean freedom of consequences as well. For example, if you say something like it's super terrible, people are going to be upset with it. The Suzanne Swerk case, as of now, has not been resolved, but whether you agree that it was wrong to terminate Swerk or not, the issue regarding one of the First Amendment rights should concern everyone. I'm going to include all the sources that I used in the description of this video. Feel free to check them out. I highly recommend reading Hedgepeth v. Britton so that you have a better understanding of the lawsuit that President Mearns is referencing.